Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the new ride moderator, the little brother to the deepfake. This board features ride's directional extra camber, so you have rocker in the nose, then camber throughout the rest of the board. That camber is going to give you all the load, pop, snap, and drive, while that rocker in the nose is going to give you ease of entry in and out of turns, as well as more optimal powder float. This board is available in 144, 148, 151, 155, 157, 159, 162, 157 wide, 161 wide, and 165 wide for you big boys. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day with 3 inches of dust on top of crust, so it was light blower snow if it wasn't crusty underneath, but for the most part it was pretty crusty. You had hidden chop and chunder under that dust on crust, and if you knew where to look you could find a little bit of pow, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. As this is the little brother to the deepfake, it's a little bit softer than that. It comes in around the middle of the road, maybe just a hair above that, and it's got a slightly directional flex. That means you got a softer nose where that rocker is, and then it progressively stiffens back up to the tail. The torsional flex is there, but it takes a little bit more effort to engage it if you're ankle steering. When it comes to the stability of this board, at speeds you might get a little chatter in the nose, but for the most part that's cooked off before it hits your front foot, so you're not feeling that kinetic energy coming up underneath. In rutted out terrain, this is actually a little more damp than the deepfake because it can bend and flex with those contours instead of just slamming and plowing right through them. If you do get into some really aggressive, like lumpy, choppy terrain, keep your knees bent. That would be the only time that I would be worried about it. If you're at high speeds, you might get bucked around. There is some solid snap to this board. You notice that rebound as you've got a predominantly cambered board. When you load it up, roll back on the tail, it rebounds. So send that side hit, launch that cat track gap. If you're in fresh pow, porpoise along, you're not gonna have a problem with it. It does take a little effort to get it to engage, but not as much as the deepfake, which is nice because it makes it more approachable. With that rocker in the nose, that is obviously going to be the best part of this board for buttering, especially in fresh pow. So you can pop a 180, land on that rocker, really push into it, you'll feel the camber engage, and then it'll snap you back out. Even on a groomer, it's the same thing. With the tail, it takes more effort. You're basically pushing into that camber. If you leverage your weight way out in the tip kick, high speed wheelie, and that is just fine. You'll notice that it's really good in fresh pow. On a groomer, if you're getting sideways or playing around with it, it can be a little hooky. It takes a little more effort. You're basically sitting out on top of that tail. Hey, so we're about halfway through this review, maybe. I don't know where I'm getting edited in, but I need you to go down to the description area and give this thing a thumbs up. Feed the algorithm. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed, do it. Click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the programming we have coming out for you. The edge-to-edge power transmission on this board is powerful, fluid, and smooth. That slim wall really locks in and it cuts through crap with ease. So if you're getting into like rutted out terrain, it's gonna stay locked in. It's not gonna get bucked around. You're really not gonna have any problem with that just digging in and laying a trench. Short, tight, quick carves are very snappy and responsive. Medium, mellow carves are easy to engage, and then if you need more power, you just sort of push your back knee into the camber and drive it off the tail. When you go to lay it over, this thing will Euro carve, and it will also lay trenches. You don't have to worry about it. This thing is a very approachable free ride board for someone that wants to carve and do everything with, so they can be laid back if they're with the wife, the kids, the boys, whatever. But if they also want to charge and hammer it, they don't have to worry about it. Rider in mind, this is for the all-mountain free ride guy that wants a board that they can charge with, but also be lazy with, and it won't hold them back. Like what we're doing over here? Want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. With this being a softer version of the deepfake, I wasn't sure if this was going to screw up the ride or not. It doesn't. It's a more approachable deepfake for the everyman, and it shows. You can charge with it, but you can also be laid back. It has great edge hold, it has great snap. In my opinion, the deepfake is more damp, but it's a stiffer damp, so it's more like you can just push through everything. This is more like an approachable dampness to it, where kinetic energy and vibrations aren't as reactive just due to the carbon array and how it comes underfoot. So if you're one of those guys that gets foot fatigue, this may be more of what you need versus the deep fake. By and large, I absolutely enjoyed this board. It was a blast. It did everything I needed it to do. Comparable boards: the Jones Flagship, the Salomon Takaharu Nakai, the Borealis Artifact. Binding recommendations: the Ride C8, the Salomon Hologram, the Jones Mercury. This has been my review of the Ride Moderator. If you're not feeling it, why don't you go check out one of the other reviews for one of the comparable boards I just mentioned.